All right. Hello, guys, and welcome back to this episode of the podcast. Very excited to talk with someone today. We have Xavier, or Lunchy, here. He's a fellow Australian, and I've been really looking forward to having a great chat with him. We share a lot of very similar perspectives. He's also, would you say you're the owner of Halo Australia?
I guess, yeah, pretty much, yeah. But we all like, contribute in different ways, but I guess, I created it back in whatever year it was, 2013 or 14 or something.
Awesome. Yeah. And so now you guys are grassroots partners and got a few more things going on. It's been awesome for us to be able to work with you guys in putting some competitions on and putting a little bit of prizing out there for the Australian Halo scene. So it'd be good to talk to you today and get an overview of like where you think the scene's at, what are things you think could be different with, MCC and Halo 5 and, what's going to be really important coming into Infinite. But before we get into that too much, I want to kind of get to know you a little bit more and kind of how we kind of all got to here. So I think the first bit is, have you always been a gamer? Have you been playing games since you were a kid?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been playing games like as long as I can remember. I pretty much, like a lot of kids like around my age, I grew up with Nintendo 64, SNES, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Played a lot of Super Mario 64, a lot of games like that, Star Fox. Oh, amazing. Banjo-Kazooie as well, that's one of my personal favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up playing, I guess a lot of Nintendo 64, stuff like that, and I guess my love of gaming just grew from there.
Yeah, and so did you play like Halo from the very start, like in, what was it, 2001 when Halo 1 came out, or?
So I actually I would have been, that was pretty young, obviously when Halo 1 came out. I don't know how old I would have been, like maybe like 7 or something, I don't know, but
yeah.
really young. And I think it wasn't until maybe 2003 or something, just before Halo 2 came out, that I first experienced Halo 1. I have fond memories of just running through the campaign with my school friends, in the Warthog, just destroying all the Covenant. But yeah, like I've been, I guess, like playing it since I was a kid. But it wasn't until, I guess, maybe Halo 3 when I started to get much more involved, when Xbox Live became more of a thing, and I guess like it was so popular back then.
Yeah. There were so many people that were kind of coming. That was when like there was literally 1 million people online playing matches.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear that. It was some crazy alarms going on outside.
That's right, dude. You live in Brisbane. You're close to the valley. That makes sense. It's almost as bad as my brother. He lives in Surfers Paradise on the Gold Coast, and like it's just motorbikes and ambulances and everything like that. So totally fine. So with Halo, I know actually you play a lot of Smash as well. Have you been playing Smash Bros for a long time?
I've always played it like casually. I grew up playing Smash as well, on N64, got a GameCube as well. I was pretty much a Nintendo kid for like my whole childhood. It was, like I said, it wasn't until Halo 3 I actually decided to like make the switch, because I had a lot of friends from school who played Halo. But yeah, I recently, just a few years ago, I picked up competitive Smash, to try and, I guess, like fill the void that Halo left. Because anyone who knows me will probably know that I'm not like the biggest fan of Halo 5. I think it's a decent game, especially like spectating wise. It's like fun to watch. But I guess if you're like a OG player, you I guess grew up playing a lot of the original Halo games, you might not had the same love for it. But yeah, I picked up Smash to, I guess, like fill that competitive void, and I've been playing pretty consistently, like almost once. I've been going to tournaments almost once a week.
Wow.
It's unhealthy. I added up all the money that I spent on tournaments, and it's just like, it's so sad. I haven't won any money yet, but like,
Yeah, but you've been placing pretty well, haven't you? Like in top 10 or something?
Yeah, I mean, depends on the tournament, but I guess like the most recent ones I've played in, I've come, like around the top 4, top 5. So unfortunately, the money in Smash is, it's all grassroots, right? And you've got to pay venue fees on top of that. So, you know, prize money it's you know, only for those like top, the best of the best, really.
Yeah, I get it.
I also play a low tier character as well.
Who do you play? DK?
Donkey Kong, yeah. It's just too much fun though. It's too much fun.
Yeah, I actually don't even know why or how I knew that. I just had a vibe. But
I think it's just, I have like my profile picture on Discord's like DK. I got a DK plush on my bed. I got a DK tie like in the corner of my room.
Yeah, maybe
my friends just give me merch because they just want me to live in the meme. Like I don't even. It's all them.
Yeah, fair enough. But it must have subconsciously registered in like another conversation that we've had. So when we go back to Halo,
probably yeah.
So what's been your favorite Halo out of all of them?
Oh, that's a tricky question. I think a lot of people, I guess if you know me pretty well, I was a big fan of Halo 2 Anniversary.
Oh, really?
I get a lot of hate for liking H2A, but I honestly believe that it was one of the best multiplayer games. Very smooth. It was just unfortunate that it shipped with MCC in its like broken state.
Yeah.
And obviously having only 3 competitive maps were, you know, it's not the best, but the game itself, like the core like gameplay mechanics, I think were the smoothest in the series so far. And I'm really hoping that Infinite kind of plays similar to that, where it's just like classic Halo, but it's a bit more modernized as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, multiplayer wise, probably H2A. Obviously Halo 3 is up there. I'm a big fan of Halo 3, like everyone is.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess it's just like the classic competitive game, right? It's I think it's got like a really high skill gap. So yeah, I think those 2 games. As for, I mean, if you count a campaign, they're all really good. Besides, obviously, Halo 4 and 5. Not a fan.
Yeah.
But I think ODST is super underrated. That is one of the best campaigns ever made.
Yeah, for sure. And ODST Firefight as well. That was like
amazing.
Was my first ever introduction to Halo. Was sitting in my friend's house. I didn't even own an Xbox. I wasn't even there playing, but they were sitting there landing and playing Firefight together. And I was watching it and I was like, I've got no idea what's going on right now, which is crazy when you think about how much time I now put into the game and into creating content around it. But yeah, amazing. So, okay, cool. So I was not expecting Halo 2A to be your pick of the bunch. I would have said Halo 3 for sure. So that's really, that's really interesting. So when you were playing, you started playing the matchmaking side of things in Halo 2 or Halo 3, was it?
Halo 3 pretty much. I mean, I played Halo 1 and Halo 2 like LAN.
Yeah.
Like I would go to my friend's house like after school or on the weekends, and we'd have like little LAN parties and stuff. And I guess it wasn't until like Xbox Live with Halo 3 for me, that's when I guess like made the switch and I became a sweaty nerd.
So were you mainly playing ranked in Halo 3 or?
No, I was like pretty young, so I think I just played Social Slayer, and like I remember being really into like Forge and custom games and just all the casual like stuff. It wasn't until I guess like the end of Halo 3 where I started to get like, obviously I got a little bit older and better at the game, so I started to like play a bit more ranked. And then yeah, obviously Halo Reach is when I actually started competing. So you can call me a Reach kid all you want, but I started in Halo 3.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's actually, I don't know if you remember, I think that's actually the first time that we talked was in Halo Reach. I was playing under a game tag that was, I think it was TBK I Am Rain back then. And yeah, I didn't know anybody in the scene. I was like working really hard. I had a business at that stage. I was only playing a little bit. And but I wanted to be really good at the game. And I remember you and Justin and like a few of the guys that kind of stood out because you guys were always super encouraging and trying to get me to play 8s and jump into customs and stuff, and I was always just like, no, I want to play multi-team. Like, I want to play the social stuff.
Is that Justin Timing or Justin like Powell?
Powell, yeah.
Okay,
yeah. I'm pretty sure it was anyway. It was Super Saiyan someone. Was the SSJ someone? That's him, isn't it?
Right. I don't know. This man's had so many gamer tags, but yeah, probably.
Yeah, fair enough. In the Halo 3, what's the highest skill that you get to? Did you get a 50?
No, I didn't. I got to by the time I started playing ranked, like it was towards the end of Halo 3's life cycle, so like Reach was just around the corner. I think it was when ODST was out. That's when I started playing ranked because I got that multiplayer disc that had all the maps on it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I got to I think it was like a 40, the Brigadier.
Yeah.
And that was, by the way, so fun story. Like I for the longest time, I don't know, I was just dumb, but for the longest time, like I guess like internet wasn't as big back then, right? So like how you like learn things, or like how you like, you know, found things out about the game is just like from word of mouth, like talking to people at school.
Yeah.
And like, you know, looking to your friends who also play the game. You're like, oh, my buddy heard this. Like, if you do this cool thing, you can get out of the map. It's like, no way. Like, so like people didn't have ways of like recording stuff like that. But I guess like I was like obviously new to like, you know, competitive and stuff. My friend just told me that the only way to rank up was to play Lone Wolves.
Oh yeah.
And so I just grinded Lone Wolves, not knowing that there were like other ranked playlists like Team Slayer, Team Snipes. Like I just played Lone Wolves, and I was like, man, I wish there was like a team. Like I found out there's like competitive 4v4, like MLG. I'm like, dude, what have I been playing this whole time? On ball on like some weird map.
Yeah. Or the worst of it was free for all in Australia when you got swords, dude.
Yep.
What were we meant to do, man?
Oh man, it was bad. It was really bad. People say like the connection now in MCC is a little like iffy, but if you played back in the day, you'd have someone from like North America, like Canada, pulling hosts. You'd be on like 250 ping.
Yeah.
It was awful. It was really bad, but it was great fun. It was great fun.
Well, that's what I loved. That's what I love about Halo 3 is like we had so many more obstacles than what we do now with like Halo 5 and everything, but it was just so playable and the skill gap was great and there was just so much reason to love Halo 3. So I hope that they take a lot of the mechanics and a lot of the ways that these games felt and take it kind of into Infinite. But which I'm really excited to see because whatever they do now is, you know, up in the air and it's going to be great either way. So you started competing in Reach. Then when did you go to your first LAN and start thinking, okay, I want to get into like the competitive scene?
Well, I guess like I was a online kid for quite a while before I went to my first LAN. So I actually found out about competitive Halo in Australia because I knew that towards the end of Halo 3, I knew that like MLG was a thing, or like, you know, that competitive Halo was a thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until Reach came out that I actually found out about ACL Pro.
Yeah, I remember
where one of my friends at school, again, see, it's just like, you know, word of mouth, I guess. Like he told me, because he was actually competing at the time. His name was Toby, and he was competing, and he told me like, oh, you like playing competitive like Halo, you should check out ACL Pro. That's where like the competitive scene lives. So it was, I guess, like the start of Reach. I started to sweat the game. I was still very bad, but yeah, it was. I think Reach, start of Reach. The first tournament I played would have been towards the end, the middle. I think Bloom was still in the game, but like there was no armor abilities and stuff like that. So yeah, it might have been like towards the end, I guess. My first LAN though, that was in Halo 4, surprisingly.
There you go. And which one was that? What was do you remember the Halo 4 one?
ACL Brisbane 2013, and it was at a hotel like right next to the river.
Yeah, and close to the casino, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I remember.
Yes, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
I actually went to that not to compete because I didn't know about the competitions. I think Top Leaf, to give Top Leaf a shout out, said to me, we've been playing a little bit online with a guy called Shockwave, Ryan. I think he still plays, but not as much. They both were like, hey man, like we've been playing heaps, you should come and like just hang out so we can like meet each other. And I was like, Yeah, cool, for sure. So I caught a bus and came to the LAN for the first time and didn't even play. Just stood behind and kind of watched a few games. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. I can't wait for this to get bigger and bigger. And so, and here we are now. I'm waiting to organize
Yeah.
my own first LAN. So it's
They're a lot of work, but they're great fun. They're so much fun. Well, that LAN was my first LAN, and I was playing under the team Another Dimension. So if people wondering what the AD stands for in my gamer tag, it's Another Dimension.
oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's my first I mean, I had like online teams and reach and stuff, but it was my first I guess official team that I grinded the game with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had a great time at that event. That event completely changed it changed everything. From that day, I was like, you know what, I'm a sweaty Halo nerd now.
Yeah.
And I actually have a lot of footage from that event that I've never actually released. It's just on a Google Drive, because back then phones weren't really phone cameras were really not they weren't that good.
Yeah.
So I just walked around with this handheld camera, just recording everything because I thought it was the coolest thing to I guess record LAN footage.
Yeah, well, it is pretty cool.
But I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did. It's good to look back on it and kind of see how far.
Yeah, you should definitely send me some if you've got access to it, so I can put it over the screen now for the guys watching on YouTube. See what we're talking about. Yeah,
there's some of it on YouTube, that I can link you. But yeah, I guess all the super cringy stuff is it's hidden away.
Yeah, it's
cringy. It's very cringy.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, it's good to kind of look back on how far it's come since then.
Okay, and then so how do we go from that being your first LAN to you being okay, we need a Halo Australia, and that's got to be a thing, and getting into that?
I guess because so that was my first LAN experience, and that was during Halo 4. After that event, ACL Pro they dropped the support for Halo. I think we averaged online, we were getting maybe 16 teams. Thinking back on it though, with joking around and stuff, it's 16 teams is so bad. It's comparing that to now, if we had consistently 16 teams, it'd be so good.
Yeah.
But I guess coming from Reach and Halo 3 where they were getting close to 40, 50 teams, and then only getting 10 teams at LAN, it definitely is it's a lot less. So I understand why they did it. They wanted to get maybe a smaller venue, or they didn't have the manpower or whatever. But yeah, they dropped Halo from the pro circuit, and little Lunchy, brand new to the scene, was scarred. I still haven't healed, because I was so into that first LAN experience was life changing for me. We didn't do too well. I think I remember we beat Benno's team, and I think I guess here's a good story if we have the time. Here's a good story. So at that Halo 4 event, so we did a pre-LAN the night before. So we invited Pandora, Dom.
Yeah.
I think Nightmare, Agony, and Hazard. Hazard. It's Hazard, not Hazard. Sorry. We invited them over, and online we were going pretty even with them. We were going pretty even, and well, I guess we were low to mid level. Definitely not in the top 4, top 5, but it's doing all right. So we decided we'd pre-LAN to kind of help each other get better and warm up for the event. And they beat us. I think it was 11-0 or something. We got absolutely smacked in the pre-LAN. It was so demoralizing. Because we lost all of our confidence into the next day. We're wow, we can't even take a map off these guys. And then come the LAN, we find out that our first match on stream on main stage is against Pandora's team.
Yeah.
And we have to play them, and we're dude, we couldn't even beat them offline in a casual event. How are we gonna beat them you know, like on main stage, and we ended up actually beating them 2-0. We just beat them 2-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was very close. Obviously, like it was super close, but that was like the best feeling in the world. Like my first time on stream on LAN, and we win against a team that like was destroying us the night before.
Yeah. Was there anything that changed? Do you think that maybe they got nervous playing on stage?
Yeah, I think it's like it's a bit of both. You know, everyone, I guess, like you get a little bit of the like LAN jitters. But that being said, we were also like pretty nervous too, not having played on main stage before.
Yeah.
And you know, it was intimidating. You know, it was like all the like loud sounds. Like you could see your gameplay up on this big projector. There was a crowd. Like, you know, we only had like 10 teams, but there was all these other games run at the same venue.
Yeah.
So they were all like, you had people watching like who knew you from, because that's the thing is like COD and Halo were so like they were so like close together. Like so many people from COD would play Halo and Halo would play COD. Yeah. So it was a much tighter community within the grassroots like scene.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think in the end we just, I don't know, we just pulled it together. We just we played really well. I have like a handful of like I'm sad I didn't record it. Like it's long gone now, but I have like little like snippets from that event that like I remember like finding on my computer. So yeah.
Cool. And so then you've gone. I'm all in on being a sweaty Halo kid and getting involved in this. And then the next thing before you know it, ACL is like, we're not doing Halo anymore. So you go, right. I've got to do this. I've got to do Halo Australia. Someone's got to do something, and it's got to be little, young, Lunchy steps up to the plate. Who was the first kind of people that you spoke to and said, guys, like, we've got to do something?
Right. So after they dropped Halo, the support for Halo, it probably wasn't until like maybe like 4 or 5 months after that I decided that I wanted to do something. Because I just wanted to compete. That's all it was. And that still is what it is for me today. Like Halo Australia was born because I wanted to play competitive Halo. That's the reason like it was created, and I guess in a way that's still one of the reasons like it's still around, because you know, I just want to play tournaments, and you know, if no one else is going to do it, I'll do it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think I would have been maybe like 17, 18, like turning 18, and yeah, towards the end of Halo 4, I decided to start running tournaments under the name Aus Halo.
Yeah. And
not knowing that there was previously an organization called Aus Halo, which then became ACL Pro. I was running Aus Halo tournaments for Halo 4, but I was using a like modified. I actually reached out to like one of my friends in the community, and he created these modded game types for us in Halo 4 that had like seriously like crazy. They're in my file share on MCC if anyone wants to like just, if you're bored and you want to have a look. But it had a spectator mode. It had like what else did it have? No sprint. It had flag juggling. Yes, you could juggle the flag in Halo 4, because we did this like sick mod where like if you picked up the flag, it gave you a jetpack. If you dropped the flag, you'd throw your like your flag and the jetpack, because it would like be attached to each other.
Yeah.
So it was like this weird workaround, but it worked perfectly. Like you could, and it annoys me that like these settings weren't used like a few years back, because people would have loved Halo 4 so much more if it had a spectator mode and if it had flag juggling. It was ahead of its time. Like these modded game types were like crazy. Yeah, I started running tournaments for that, and then I remember Vanzetti reached out to me and was like, hey, you can't use this name anymore. You got to change the name of Aus Halo, because you know, obviously was a thing previously. And yeah, they basically, I was approached by a few members in the community around then, SATX, Craig, and at the time I was teaming with like or playing a lot with Justin Timing, a player from Melbourne, and I guess like us three, we kind of just we just started running like these community Halo 4 events. They weren't really getting many like teams, maybe like 5 to 6 teams, 10 on a good day. But it was just, I guess it was enough, right? It was enough to keep like a core amount of the community playing, and made a lot of good friends, and I guess like, you know, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I actually ran my first LAN later that year, for Halo 4 as well. So I went from like running I think it was like maybe like 3 or 4 online tournaments, and then I ran my first LAN in Melbourne, at Shadow Logic. I don't know if you remember that venue.
No. How many teams?
It's like a fighting game. It was Halo 3 2v2 and a Halo 4 4v4 using the modded game types that we had.
Yeah.
And I think we got 5 Halo 4 teams, and 2v2 there was quite a lot. I think there was like close to 16 teams.
Yeah.
For 2v2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess
but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we go from that being your first LAN to what's the biggest competition now that you've put on or been a part of?
I guess, yeah. I mean, we've run quite a lot of LANs since then, and I guess like the team has grown significantly like as well. You know, we picked up Evan Mason. He was a big part of Halo Australia, in its, I guess, like development, like past Halo 4, in MCC, when we were running H2A events. And so I would say the Halo Australia LANs, we obviously ran a few Halo 5 events, but I would say the Halo 3 event that we ran in 2019 was probably like the most challenging, but the most rewarding as well.
Yeah.
I think that was like the best event that we've run, because it was just like I don't know, it was just so like perfect. We had the Logan City Council reached out to us and like, hey, like, do you guys want to run like an event? We'll give you the venue for free. Like,
wow.
It was just incredible. They promoted us, like they had the Channel 7 news there, and like we had like like we were on the news that like later that night about like our Halo 3 LAN in 2019. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was probably like my favorite event. But the biggest event would definitely be the HCS Sydney, where I had the privilege of commentating alongside people like Bravo and Fallout, and I think Clutch was there as well.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And so was that a competition that you guys ran, or like what was that?
Sydney? HCS Sydney, that was the Halo 5 event in 20. I think that might have also been 2019, or maybe 2018. I'm not too sure. It was the last World Championships that they did.
Yeah, that's awesome. What was it like doing that? What was it like commentating with those guys? Were you nervous?
Yeah, absolutely. Like looking back on it, like, you know, there's so many things I'm like, oh, I wish I said this, or like I wish I, you know, did that. But like, yeah, it was coming straight off community like run events that I had run. It was like crazy because it was like just so much bigger, right? Like you had so many people watching. It was on the official Halo channel, so
yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely nervous, but it was a lot of fun. It was really fun. Like the guys like Bravo and all the American guys who came over, they make casting like a lot more like fun and a lot like more casual, like behind the scenes. Like when you're on camera, like it's obviously like, you know, it's showtime, but when you're off camera, like they're all just having fun and just making jokes, and it, I guess, made it a lot more a lot easier to, I guess, to kind of like slot in and have some fun. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. We've come a long way since that first LAN that you talked about to being able to cast at that kind of level and be associated with the HCS World Championships, or the qualifiers anyway. So then you guys are now the grassroots members. That's as of when? That was 2021. Was that this year or was it the end of last year?
End of last year. Yeah, end of last year. We got accepted into grassroots, which was like definitely one of the big goals for myself and the rest of the Halo Australia team. As soon as they announced grassroots as a program, we were straight in with applying every time. We're just making sure we're trying to be consistent with our like tournaments and content. But it really is good to finally, I guess, get some recognition on like a global level, and I guess like being grassroots, we're able to offer more back to the community as well. So it's definitely it's been a goal that we've been striving for quite a while. So
yeah,
really happy that we made it.
What's it been like since now that you've been a part of the grassroots? Like, have you been getting support from them? How does it kind of work? Do you guys do meetings and stuff? Like, what's it like being a part of the grassroots program?
Yeah, so it's really good because there's a really direct contact with the 343 and HCS. So you get like a better, I guess, view behind the curtain in regards to the HCS format for tournaments and stuff like that. And it's just been, I guess, like really good to being in grassroots to, I guess, reach a larger audience that we might have not been able to. So a lot more casual players or just like people who don't know too much about competitive Halo, having this like that larger audience, being able to reach more people has been like a big thing for us. So yeah, I mean, like, we get things like nameplates for MCC. We get like little giveaways and stuff that we can do, which is nice to keep the scene going. And obviously, the promotion has been really, really good.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like from them that you don't currently get? That you can
I don't know what I can say, man.
that you can say without getting in trouble. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot for that one.
I think we were having a chat about it before, right? About like nameplates. Yeah. I don't know if like people saw on Twitter, like, sorry if I fooled you. A little April 1st, little April 1st nameplate. I think that would be really cool, having like the community like nameplates and having, if you could buy them and the money goes back into the community for like prize pools and things like that. I think that would be really good to have. But outside of that, I think we'll have to wait until Infinite comes out because obviously Halo's in a weird place right now, I think, with Halo 5 kind of on its last legs and MCC. It's getting a lot of updates, but it is a pretty old game as well.
Yeah. So
when Infinite comes out, we'll hopefully see like some more support in regards to like land funding, like things like that. I guess like bigger prize pools and I guess like more consistent events.
That leads me on to, I think, perfectly onto my next question, which is, what do you think could be changed or done in MCC or in Halo 5 now that needs to be done?
That's a great question, and I have anyone that knows me. I play like an unhealthy amount of MCC. like I'm almost a light blue shield. It's disgusting, but MCC is a really good game. I love it a lot, but there's just a few things like just holding it back from being just at that next level. I think we got like the server browser and that was like game changing. Right now, being able to play on local servers and I guess like keeping the local ANZ community alive as on a casual level is really important, because previously, you just search on, you'd have to play on West US 150, 160 ping.
Yeah.
And if you're a casual player, like, you're not going to be sticking around much longer if you're consistently getting laggy games, right?
Yeah.
So I would love to see the server selection kind of fleshed out a bit more, right? And give us like a few more options in regard to that, like population counts and things like that. But speaking more on like a competitive like viewpoint, the ranked like as a whole needs like it needs an overhaul.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's not even just a problem in ANZ. It's really bad in ANZ, but globally it's a problem where if you're getting to level 25 and you're needing to create like a new account to play ranked playlists, like you've got a big problem with population. So and honestly, population isn't even the main issue. The main issue is, I think, like, people just go, oh, I'm level 25, I'll create a Smurf. And everyone has the same attitude and the same idea, meaning that the people who, if everyone just played on their mains, we might even have enough population to keep going past that point, right? Yeah. But yeah, I think widening the skill parameters. Invasion does this interesting thing where it actually, like, you can match anyone at any level. And obviously, you don't get as competitive matches because, like, you could have level 50s versus level 1s.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, to give you an idea of, like, what needs to be done. Something like that, like widening the skill parameters or having a threshold, like once you hit level 10, you can just match anyone. So you've proven that you're, like, not a bot. Yeah. So now you can play anyone. I think something like that is needed for MCC.
Yeah, cool. So the competitive side of things is to update so that people can actually find games and play the competitive game modes. Is there anything else that you think would be valuable to add into MCC?
Yeah, I think what they're doing with, like, the ranked seasonal rewards are great incentive for, I guess, like, returning players, giving people a reason to grind. I would love to see community tournaments in the message of the day as well. Promoting tournaments through within the game, because you look at other games, right, and they've been doing that for years. They have the message of the day, and they'll smack, like, community events and, like, Twitch links and community play dates. That's something else that we do in HCS Grassroots. But, like, having things like that in the game, I think, is, like, I don't know why it's not being done yet. It's just, to me, it just seems like common sense, right? Like, a great way to reach, like, a really wide audience.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as just uploading a photo and a little bit of information.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of those things where we don't know if there's some reason, something else that goes into it, but you'd only presume that that's the case. Something else that makes it a bit difficult to do, because, yeah, you're right. It just seems like a real obvious thing to do. And it shares attention, that there are people that jump on the game that, if they saw that, might become more engaged in the game. Like, oh, wait, there's this competition that I can be a part of, or I can watch, or whatever. And then that, is that first step for, for, like, when you went to your first LAN and you went, no, that's it, I'm all in on Halo. Someone seeing that message of the day and being like, what, there's a Halo Australia competition draft tournament thing coming up? Like, oh, I should go and watch that. And, we had a lot of people do that and message me on the Divine Mind account when we did the very first Pro League. I think we actually had 4 or 5 teams in that were completely new players, which didn't work out because we have a lot of competitive players as well. But, I think you're right. That could be a really good thing to add. When we're looking to the future now for Halo Infinite, what do you reckon is, like, must-haves, must-not-haves for Halo Infinite for it to be successful?
Well, it needs to be, obviously, a good game. The core gameplay needs to be, I think, really polished. The fact that they've delayed it a year gives me like, a good feeling, a lot of confidence, like, moving into Infinite, that it's going to be a popular game at launch.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, I think, having building, like, a good foundation for the competitive players is the number one thing. And supporting events, like, on a grassroots level, right? So like not everyone is going to jump straight into an official HCS like tournament for $10,000, but when we're running like community draft events, like LAN events and like weekly cups and stuff like that, that's a great opportunity for new players to get involved. So
Yeah.
I think, like I said, I guess it kind of goes back to like what I said earlier, like just the cross promotion with HCS and community events and community tournament organizers is going to be the key difference if Halo Infinite succeeds on a competitive level.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like the game has to be good, right? It has to be fun. Has to have a good ranking system. Matchmaking has to be like quick and easy use. And I think there has to like one thing that's really important is incentive. Like you have to incentivize players to try ranked playlists or these sweaty playlists, right?
Yeah.
Because I think Halo 5 tried to do this when they made the casual and the competitive game mode the same. But in doing that, they actually made the competitive playlist worse because they had AR starts, radar, Spartan charge, you name it, right?
Yes.
So like they tried to bridge that gap, which I think is a great idea. But look at Counter-Strike, for example. I think it's like people use this argument a lot, and I think it's a really good like argument, like a really good point to make. It's like Counter-Strike at its core is casual, like just at its like core gameplay is very competitive and very sweaty, right? And it's been like that for years, and they don't change too much about the gameplay. But like Halo, I think should do a similar thing where they need to create a competitive game from the beginning that casual players can enjoy and competitive players can enjoy.
Yeah.
And it's easier for like casual players to then get involved in competitive because they've already been playing the same game modes, the same maps, the same everything since launch, right? And there's no difference. They don't have to learn new maps or new movement or like, you know what I mean? Like there's no altered game modes or anything like that. I think that's really important. And on top of that, like, I guess like viewership as well. A spectator mode is it's very important. I'm pretty sure it's already been confirmed though that they're gonna be doing a spectator mode, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think that's those are the main factors for Infinite to succeed. I think, but it all boils down to supporting, I guess like the community events. That's what that comes down to.
Yeah, cool. I completely agree with everything you just said there. I think that it's that I think what you just said there is really the bare minimum of like what needs to be done for the game to be successful. What I'd like to see is stuff that was like in Halo 3, right? When Halo 3 came out and there was Forge and you could place spawn points around and you could move stuff, man, like there's still so many games that don't have anything like that, right? That was revolutionary. That was game changing, Same when they with Halo 3, the theater side of things was absolutely incredible, and just so much of what they introduced into Halo 3 really made it as successful as it was. And I think that's the type of stuff that needs to be a part of Infinite as well, is them having some kind of new features that they're adding into it that are going to help with either the content creation side of things. That would be, if I was in charge of doing something for 343, I would be looking at how do I engage these people that want to create content about the game and put it out there for more people? How do I make it easier for people to do that? And how can quality content come to the surface faster so that more people see it and want to be associated with it? So yeah, I completely agree with you. What's your thoughts on a BR mode in Infinite?
I'm not a big fan of battle royales. Like, just the gameplay, I find it like quite repetitive and boring. But I understand like why people like it. I think Infinite should have a BR, just because it just makes so much sense to have it. Even if it's just like a game mode in Forge that people can create their own maps. If the Forge is like anything like Halo 5, which it probably will be, building maps, you can do some crazy stuff, right? So I think that like having, at least at the minimum, having like a Forge game mode or something like that people can create their own maps and game types and stuff. But I do think a BR would be really like good for the game.
Yeah, for the population anyway. At least that's social. Good instruction level to take people that are playing lots of BR modes,
Yeah,
bring them to Halo, give them their first taste of it, and then they try matchmaking, and then they see the ranked stuff and
exactly.
those
You just gotta hook them in. That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's it.
So, well, I've had a few people now mention like it's such a good game for a BR mode, just like the whole feet first into hell, ODST, like that's the best way a game could possibly start, and you kind of jump out and there's bare bones and you got to run around and collect armor and you kind of build yourself up to being these better Spartans, which is, in my opinion, I think that's an amazing idea to be doing as a BR mode, and it's got the possibility there for it. So we'll see what happens though. I think I trust them at this point in time to do whatever they think is going to be best for the game. And if it's going to be something that they're working on for 10 years, then it might not come launch with the game, and it might be something that they need to put a little bit more time into. But we'll see how it goes. So a little bit more about yourself though, because you do a whole heap of content creation for Lunchy for yourself. You're streaming on Twitch, and you've got your YouTube channel. Have you got a focus on like content that you're putting out at the moment?
I guess like pretty much once I like retired from Halo 5, after a few years of competing, I decided that I didn't want to completely leave the game and the community and stuff like that. So moving into content creation was, I guess, like the no-brainer. I really do enjoy streaming and creating YouTube content. So I've been doing a lot of MCC stuff recently. The grassroots streams as well. We do the community play dates.
They're a blast.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. Having, I guess, like all the other grassroots members, and offering something to the community as well, like matching us and getting nameplates and cool little giveaways and streams. It's a lot of fun. But I've been a little MIA recently. I haven't been doing a lot of content or streaming recently, but I'm keen to get back into it now that I've moved into my new apartment.
So you had a few things going on at one point, so we'll forgive you for having to move. But I love getting to jump in and see those play dates that you guys do. And for anyone that's watching the podcast or listening and you've made it this far in, thank you so much. If you want to follow more of Lunchy's journey, there's going to be links in the description for both Halo Australia content and their social pages, but also for Lunchy. Definitely jump in and watch the guy play some MCC. Not only is he talented, he's also just a really fun, cool guy to go and hang out with. So you're
gonna make me blush.
Well, that's good. So the links will be down below. Before we wrap up, there's two things I like to ask everybody at the end of the podcast. And the first one is looking forward for yourself as an individual, maybe say 5 years from now, what does like a dream version of Xavier or Lunchy look like? Are you someone that's working out more? Have you got a wife and kids? Is Halo Australia like super successful? Are you doing that full time? Are you what type of job have you got? What's the dream version of you in 5 years look like?
Oh man, put me on the spot. Honestly, like I'm not too sure, but all I know is that like I'm hoping Infinite is a big game, right? Like we all are. If you're invested in the community and the scene right now, everyone's kind of banking on Infinite being successful, because if the game is successful, the people who are grinding and making content right now will be successful as well. So yeah, I think like plans for the future, we really want to push Halo Australia to a bigger audience, right? We want to start running big scale LAN events, frequent online tournaments, and just grow the community like so much bigger than what it is now. Yeah. I guess from a personal level, I think I would love to find some full-time work in maybe audio-visual stuff, and you know, get like that dream job. I was previously working at ESL, but with how COVID turned out, like it pretty much killed like the dreams of the esport dream. So yeah, it'd be great to I guess like secure that dream job, and and start running some big scale events. I mean, if I could turn Halo Australia into a job, that would even be like, that would be crazy, right? That would be something that, but I don't know if that'd ever be possible. And I guess it all depends on how popular Infinite is.
Yeah, excellent. All right, well, hey, I'm in a very similar boat to you. You know, if Halo Infinite it goes off, and if we can get competitive teams out there and content creators, you know, making more money for themselves, then that all reflects really well on Divine Mind. And so yeah, I feel that, dude. I'm in the same boat, and I truly hope that Infinite's a huge success, which, you know, at this point in time, I'm inclined to believe it will be. So I'm going to keep that positive attitude until the day I play it for the first few times. Beta-wise or whatever, that'll be a good, if that ever happens, that'll be a good snapshot into it. The last question that I'd like to ask before we finish up is, if there's someone in the scene that you think would add value to the conversation that we should have on the podcast, that you'd like to kind of tag in as someone that we should reach out to and say, hey, I've thrown you under the bus, you got to go and talk to Liam for 45 minutes to an hour.
Look, I mean, from the Australian scene,
it's completely
or
up
just
to you,
like
man.
in general?
Can be absolutely anyone. It doesn't even have to be Halo in particular. It can be, as long as it's esports and you think they'd add some value to the conversation, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could always just go to Monza, right? She's recently just got into the grassroots on that content grind, so I think Monza would be someone good to interview.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I'm going to tell her you suggested that, because I know if I asked her individually and personally, she'd 100% slam it down. So, you know what? I'm going to let you breach that subject with her first, and then get back to me if it's something that she's okay to do. But I'd love to do it because, you know, Monza puts out a whole heap of really great content. She's a good reflection on the Australian Halo scene as well, and super competitive. You know, she just ran that Halo 4 tournament that was for people around the world, and that was an awesome tournament. So yeah, I think it'd be really good to get to chat to her. She'd be able to add a lot of value. So hopefully we can make that happen. Before we finish up, is there any questions that you got for me or anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, I mean, as I guess like maybe some of these viewers already know, but if you don't, Halo Australia has partnered with Divine Minds on quite a lot of projects recently. And I guess moving forward into Infinite, I would love to continue this partnership because I think it's been a lot of fun. But I would asking you, right, for Infinite, what are your plans and how is Divine Mind going to evolve with its content creation, its team, events?
Awesome, man. Well, that's a big question, and I wasn't quite expecting it. There's a lot to answer that. I think that the easiest way for me to kind of answer that question without giving too much away is that right now, up until this point, we've kind of been dabbling and just getting a good feeling for what it's like and seeing where's best for us to put our time and energy, so that coming into Infinite, we can make sure that where we put money, time, attention is going to be giving us the best possible, response back, so that we can do it again, and making sure that it's going to be really worthwhile, not so much from a point that we're going to make money, but so that we can get more people involved and we can make sure that the Halo Australia scene grows. So we've got a few things that we're working on, Fred and I are working on right at the moment, which is building a bit of a timeline for how we'd fit our competitive plans in, and that's something that we'll work with you on as well. But what we need an understanding of, like, what the actual roadmap is going forward, so that we're not cutting grass, and making sure that we're fitting in around that. But we definitely want to make sure that we're doing competitions, and we definitely want to make sure we're doing things that engage not the 1% of Halo players. We definitely want to have a pro team. We definitely want to have people that are representing us, more content creators. We've been working with Jen, putting on a game night. It's Lady Echidna, I'm sure a lot of people know about. Her next game night is this Friday, so anyone that's listening, you should come along and be a part of that. We play a whole heap of community fun games, just again to get more people involved. But we will be doing more stuff like that with more content creators. And realistically, the big thing that I've been doing at the moment over here in Canada is trying to network as much as I can with people from all over the industry, so that I can kind of paste that back and give that to that as a resource for the Australian Halo community as well. So hopefully that'll all plan out, but we got to wait and get a little bit closer before I can make anything a little bit more set in stone. So thanks for asking that question, though. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Excellent. Anything else before we wrap up?
Thanks for having me on this podcast or interview. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to Infinite. I think that the Australian Halo community, it's definitely it's had its ups and downs. Like, I've been through all the dark times, and I've seen the ups and downs. Right, it's been a roller coaster, but I think with Infinite, it's gonna breathe a lot of new life into the scene, and as a tournament organizer and also as a competitive player as well, that is going to be, it's going to be a really big opportunity for everyone. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully next time we do one of these, it'll be after the $1 million Halo Australia event. If I'm able to it.
Hey, I love the sound of that. For sure. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for your time and chatting with me today. I know you've been trying to do it for a while, but better getting it done now than never. So thank you so much. It was awesome to get to talk to you. Like I said before, everybody, if you watched this, I really appreciate your viewership. If you enjoyed it, please make sure that you like and share it with somebody else that you think would get some value out of it. Even if they wouldn't, just spam it to every single person that you possibly know. Watch the video 500 times. That'll help more people see it as well. And just, if you've got a comment that you'd like to make that you think is something that we can improve on, I hear it, man. I look at every single comment that we get on every part of our social media, and I take on board all of the feedback and make sure that we implement it into stuff that we're doing in the future. So let me hear any feedback that you guys have got in the comments, and we'll make sure that we get that done for future editions. But again, Lunchy, thank you so much for your time. It was absolutely amazing. To you guys, the audience, we'll see you on the next episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.